Hello everybody, coming at you with another impromptu, unscripted video, and as you can see by the title, just wanted to kind of lay out the reality and what I plan to do with my channel going forward. So, when I started doing this, from the outset, I came into this from the perspective of, this is just something I want to do for fun. You know, I'm not doing this just to get popular or just to make money or, who the heck makes money on YouTube anymore? The answer is nobody. But I just wanted to do this because I just felt inspired to, and especially since when I was finally able to get my hands on a piece of decent video editing software, I finally decided to try my hand at it and see what I could do. And of course, being inspired by a lot of people that I'm very blessed to call my friends. I started with MLP because that show means a lot to me, but I wanted to just make videos on things more than just MLP. I wanted to talk about other stuff. At one point, I wanted to do stuff on video games, and the funny thing was, I had a bunch of stuff set up for an Onimusha video that I wanted to do, because Onimusha is a series that is kind of near and dear to me, and I didn't see a whole lot of people that I follow that were talking about it too much, so I was like, I'm gonna do an Onimusha video. And I captured footage for an entire playthrough of that first game, and then stopped. And for whatever, well, I didn't stop playing the game, I finished it, but when it came to, I started doing research, I found all this stuff, I was gonna talk about some of the history and everything behind it, blah blah blah, and then when it came down to writing the script for it, I just didn't have the interest or the drive to. I kept looking at a blank screen and let's write. And then just nothing happening, and then I was like, I'll come back to this. And that happened 3 or 4 times. And then I just was like, I guess I just don't have the interest to do this. So that's just why that didn't happen. Thankfully, that's not been the case for a lot of my other stuff, like when I reviewed He-Man and when I reviewed Centaur World. But obviously, as you can tell by the dates when I posted those videos and when those shows kind of initially came out, I didn't have reviews for those things until long after the fact. And the reality of it is simply, I don't get paid to do this, obviously. I work a day job, and this is just something I do as a hobby. I knew that from the outset, from the get-go. I was not going to be able to hang with guys like Saber Spark or Rebel Taxi, people who do this for a living. And there was no way I was going to be able to get things out, but I figured, hey, I got it out there, and some people might be interested in this, and my pony videos obviously are the most popular things. I came into this with kind of no expectation. The thing to me, and I kind of took a bit and asked myself, I was like, okay, do I really want to keep doing this? Because it seems like it takes me a long time to get stuff out. And the solution I came to was that the same approach that I have to my My Little Pony videos, where, yeah, the show Friendship is Magic ended, and, people already have their thoughts about it. Doing a review seems kind of pointless, but I still wanted to give my thoughts on it and talk about the show in my own words. That's what I wanted to do. So the videos were more for me than they were for anybody else in a way, and the fact that anybody else enjoys them, to me, is incidental. So, the first question being, why did it take me so long to get my videos out? And the only answer I have to that, there's a couple of things. One, I just seem to be good at procrastinating. And two, my day job, I sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day. So, the idea of doing that, especially when you're like me and you work from home, the idea of then, yep, done sitting in front of a computer, now to go sit in front of my other computer and do this for another 8 hours, which obviously isn't healthy. And being 40 now, I worry about my health more than I used to. So sitting here sedentary in front of a computer screen for hours upon hours a day is not really the most appealing aspect to me. So my weekends are usually when I would spend the most time to put work towards a video. Whether that be watching something for research or working on the video itself, right, script writing, what have you. when I was working on like those MLP videos, like I had a drive. Like I was like, yes, like this was coming together and the inspiration was there and I knew what I wanted to say, and just like the script came easily to me. It came a little more difficult to me for some reason when I was talking about like Master of the Universe, and it was like the only thing I knew about like Master of the Universe, like when I did those reviews, was like I knew how I felt. I was like, this is stupid, like, and it was kind of difficult to put how I felt into words about those things. But I wanted to do it though, and because Masters of the Universe and Centaur World both, I just felt like I came away from those shows feeling like I want to put my thoughts on there on this thing. But going forward, I think, because like I said, it took me forever to get those videos out there. So by the time I got my videos out, people had already made up their minds whether they liked those shows or not. And there's new shows coming out all the time. The idea of, because this was the other part that started to give me a bit of anxiety, was that, am I gonna put myself into a corner where everything I watch has to be something I make content on? Am I not allowed to just enjoy stuff? And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be able to have the stuff I watch and enjoy, and then stuff that I watch to make content on. That's the thing where something that I do for enjoyment started to feel like a job, and that's never great. And that's also why I kind of backed away from doing content about video games, because video games obviously are the big relaxer for me. That is what I go to for enjoyment. I don't want that to be something that, oh, now I have to make content on this and I have to do research, and now this. It gave me a newfound respect that, and while I always had respect for a number of content creators that I follow, guys like Mr. Clems, anybody who does essay content on like video games in general, like I just came away with a new respect for those people and being like, man, yeah, no, this is more difficult than it looks. You know, because a lot of people think you can just put a video out, talk over it, and that's all you need to do. No, there's so much more to it than that. And I already knew that, but now I got to kind of feel that firsthand and be like, oh, wow, yeah, no, this is, yeah, no, F this. And that's where I decided, I was like, I just want to talk about like animation, because that's something where I feel like this is something I could devote time to making content to, and find the happy medium to where there's stuff that I'm going to watch that I'm just watching to enjoy, and there's stuff I'm going to watch for content. And that's also why, going forward, I'm not going to focus so heavily on trying to review stuff. Granted, the format that I have for my MLP videos, I'm going to keep that format of like talking about the show, what I like, what I don't like, episodes, etc. As well as the movies that I'm going to be getting into. And of course, while I had hoped to get videos about Gen 5 out sooner, obviously, like everything else, that took longer. I really don't have anybody to blame but myself, because either I procrastinate, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to work on stuff, and other times just life is happening, and it's like, oh, I don't have the motivation to do anything today. Blah. So going forward, my biggest thing is not focusing so much on shows and content that would be time sensitive. Because like when you're trying to review like a newly released show, it's like you want to get that review out at least within the week, right? Because that's what guys like Saberspark do. That's what Rebel Taxi does, and like the big wigs who are doing this stuff and knock it out, and that's because they have to. That's their that's their job. But there are other channels out there that don't talk about stuff that has to be time sensitive. There are channels I follow like Alpha J Show, another channel I really like to watch. They still talk about shows like King of the Hill. Johnny Two Cellos, another channel that does the same thing. And like King of the Hill, that show's been off the air for like a decade, if not more. But there's people that still talk about it, and they have something that they want to say about it. And I feel that's an approach that I could be comfortable doing, where I want to talk about a show that I care about, not just whatever's popular. Could I talk about King of the Hill? Maybe. But there are shows that I like and enjoy and feel more passionate about than King of the Hill. And granted, with MLP, I already took the approach from the outset that I wasn't going to talk about episode by episode. That'd take forever. And that's why I talked about that show like in seasons. But there are other shows that I feel like I could talk about episode by episode and dissect it and give my thoughts on it. And what those are, I don't want to say here, but I have ideas and I would like it. I don't want to announce anything before because I could go back on stuff. I could change my mind on things. So rather than try to announce like, hey, I'm going to be working on this thing. No, I'm just going to wait, try to see if I can actually do it, and then you'll see what it is if you stay tuned to the channel. And I do appreciate everybody who subscribes and bothers to give me their time. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I appreciate it all the same. So thank you for that. But yeah, the biggest thing for my channel going forward is that I still want to talk about animation. Now, I mentioned not really talking about video games. It's not that I'll never talk about it, because I might find something I really want to talk about and really want to make a video of. But I just haven't found that yet. It's not to say that I never will, and that's why I don't want to be out here and say I'm never going to touch video games. No, I might actually do that. I just don't know if I will or not yet. So the plan going forward is, yes, there's going to be more MLP content coming, and I want to talk about other animated works, because that was the other big thing from the outset, was that I didn't want to just be an MLP channel. I wanted to talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself in a corner of just this one thing. And that may also mean, hey, changing my icon, maybe doing some rebranding work, you know, change the name that I use. My name obviously is something that I've kind of stuck with. That might stick around for my MLP videos. I might use a different name for my channel as a whole going forward. We'll see. I don't have any big super plans to change a lot of that stuff right now, but it's not to say that it won't. But the future of the channel is going to be not focused so much on stuff that like, oh, this show came out, I got to get this within a week. No, I don't want to be time sensitive, because that's just not who I am. And I feel comfortable being able to put stuff out when I want to. You know, it's the thing of, for anybody who's ever wanted to ask me, hey, when's this going to be out? And, you know, when's MLP Season 3? And my answer to that is simply going to be when it's done. That's the only answer that I can give. Trying to, like, pigeonhole myself into, like, a hard date when I know I'm going to miss it. And how many videos I'm going to try to get out this year, you know, who knows? I know in previous years I was going to be like, I'm going to put more videos out this year. And then it just didn't happen. Again, nobody to blame but myself. But that's what I want to do going forward, is that I still want to talk about animation for the most part. And there are some shows that I have lined up that I would love to do like episode by episode breakdowns of, and I feel I could be able to put those out in a timely fashion, and maybe put them out in a way that, you know, maybe my channel gets noticed more. Who knows? But at the same time, like I said, I didn't come into this with the expectation or the goal of trying to be, you know, the next big animation YouTuber. No, absolutely not. I simply want to be me, and being me also means putting stuff out when I feel like it. Because after all, this channel is a hobby to me. It's not my job. My job I have to take more seriously. But this is something I do for fun, and I want to keep it that way. Maybe things will grow, maybe they won't, who knows? But I do appreciate all of you who are out there and willing to stick with me on this crazy little journey of my hobby. And yeah, I guess that about sums it up. So there is content coming down the pipeline, and I hope all of y'all look forward to it. And I look forward to seeing you all again next time.